My internet. All right, we're live.
We are live.
We're live, dude.
I'll tag Mitch and Steve.
Okay, yeah, I'll tag him too.
On my Facebook page.
Let's see.
Tyler Redmond's already got questions. So
Tyler Redmond listens.
Oh yeah,
he's commented.
He told me.
Need to get him into Comanche. Get his son here.
He said 2053 they'll move back. That's what he said.
That's right around the corner.
Yeah. Need another center. That's him right there.
All right. I don't think Steve. Yeah, maybe we are friends, Steve. All right.
What?
I didn't know if we were friends on Facebook. We weren't friends on Facebook for a long time.
Not real life.
Sten and I are as of today.
I know. I was like, dude, I gotta add this legendary fella to my list.
Easy on that.
So it's okay. Listen,
He'll let you know about it. Don't worry.
You're a very modest individual. Okay.
Do you know? You don't know Steve very well, then.
No, I don't know.
Oh.
I always like to say that first when I first meet people. I bet you're very modest until you get to know him.
Yeah, no, he's good. Good dude.
All right, let me see. I should have got everybody tagged. Yeah, we already got 13 people on.
All right.
They probably want to hear us talk about the Iowa women's game, but I don't think that's happening, is it? You don't have that on.
I mean, it might get brought up briefly. I don't know.
I mean, I figure if we're not talking about Illinois, it really don't matter.
Yeah. I feel like I'm really gonna. Is this like an intervention? I'm gonna get like.
Illinois women won their championship in their tournament they played in.
They won the NIT. Yeah.
Hey, well,
The CBI or whatever it was.
champions.
No. It's a women's NIT.
Oh, yeah.
Champions.
Do you have something going?
Oh, they got a Clinton. Clinton ladies are coach, right?
Yeah.
Yes, correct, yeah.
Greens are named now.
Shauna.
Shauna Green. Yeah.
Stenda, you know her, right?
Oh, so her
Illinois women's coach.
Yeah, so well, I should say she was probably 7-8 years older than me, but her sister, I believe, her sister was 2 or 3 years behind me.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she was at least a 2-time first all stater for the Queens. I'm pretty sure. I think she something like that. She was pretty good. I mean, if you're coaching at Illinois, you got to be pretty good. So
That's correct.
That helps.
Correct.
Yeah. It's D1, man.
Wow.
All right. You guys ready to get rolling?
Let's go.
All right.
let's get it popping.
All right. So this is Beyond the Scoreboard podcast. This is episode number 11 for Beyond the Scoreboard here. We have first shout outs. We got to go with AdCraft. We have the gear that I got on here, the Beyond the Scoreboard podcast t-shirts. If anybody hasn't got one yet, let us know. We can hook you up. We want to thank them for the sponsor. Fat Lead is in the works of something as well for us. And we have, for the first time, we have 2 guests tonight. For the first time here, we have Steve Clements and Mitch Phillips. As my mom just commented there, the whole neighborhood. Steve's my next door neighbor, and Mitch lives just down the road from me here. So we're gonna let Steve and Mitch go ahead and introduce themselves, and then we'll get rolling here.
Thank you, Steve. Yeah. I'm Steve, the one in the middle. Like Dustin said, I'm his neighbor. Grew up here in Comanche. I moved here early. I mean, I went to kindergarten through 12th grade and went off to college for a while and came back and been living in Comanche the last 15 years and enjoying the local success of Dustin and his teams and the basketball and just following the local sports from getting to be Dustin's neighbor and hanging out with him on the weekends.
Mitch Phillips, grew up actually from Coit, about 30 minutes away from our hometowns. Went to college up here in Clinton, Iowa. Married a woman from Melissa from Miles, Iowa. Went back to Champaign for about 9 months. Came back up to this area, and we've been here since 2010.
Wow. Where'd you go to college?
Ashford University.
Yeah, baby.
Same as you, buddy. Same as you.
Ashford, baby.
Well, Stenda went to UD for a year too, and that's where Steve went. So man, he's got connections all over here.
I you gotta have connect. Yeah, you gotta keep those connections in the right places. That's what you have.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
Quick story. Mitch. So Mitch mentioned that We grew up from about 30 minutes away from each other. We're same age, graduated same year, all that. And I didn't meet Mitch until I moved to Comanche. And it's funny, my mom has a bunch of like scrapbook stuff from when I played sports and stuff. And I was randomly looking through it like a year or two ago, and there's like area leaders of like batting average, and Mitch is on there, and so am I. So it's just weird that like I didn't know the guy at all. So I moved here, and now we're obviously friends and hang out and drink pops and stuff together in his garage and do things like that. Sure. So but yeah, just go ahead, Steve.
Who had the better batting average?
Oh yeah, Mitch was 405. This was like halfway through the season. I was 395. So actually Mitch got me by 10 points, but I don't know what he ended up that year. But he probably knows, but he probably not going to say.
No clue.
He might not know, but yeah, just weird, small world, weird how things work. Like we know some of the same people, and didn't know that till now. Obviously, we're both Illinois fans, so got that going for us.
Oh, I don't know if you got that going for you, but I mean,
come on,
easy, Stinta.
Hey. I don't like anybody except the Mountaineers, so that's all that really matters. That's it.
How they doing?
I don't. Hey, country. All I say is country roads, baby. Take me home.
Bob Huggins, bring him back.
Yeah,
run it back.
He's too busy getting DUIs and
Rich Rod,
right? Yeah, Rich Rod.
Yeah, Pat White.
Dude, Rich. Yeah, Steve. Rich Rod was the man, dude. He was a god. Yes.
Pat White was a stud. Man.
Yeah,
that guy was.
He was unreal.
They had Owen Schmidt.
He's. Didn't Tavon Austin go to West Virginia too?
He did.
Yeah,
he was a stud too.
Yeah, Pat White. I saw Pat White, Steve Slayton play a couple different times.
Did you? Nice.
Oh yeah.
Who was the guy all tatted up? The basketball guy.
Kevin Pittsnoggle.
Yeah,
Pittsnoggle, baby.
Oh yeah. He made a name for himself in the tournament.
They were good. They had some good runs there.
He has West Virginia through and through.
That was Beeline, right? When Beeline was there?
Beeline was there. Yep.
I think he's I think he's actually a teacher now. Pittsnoggle is.
Really?
I'm pretty sure he's like a middle school math teacher or something like that. History.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm. So, hey.
All right. First topic of discussion we got. So we've been trying to get to this the last couple of weeks and we haven't got to it. We're going to go into the Shohei Ohtani gambling investigation, whatever you want to call it. Obviously, most people that are listening and people here know kind of the gist of what's going on with that. The whole interpreter, it was kind of a weird story. It came out that eventually at first that Shohei paid the $4.5 million, and then the interpreter basically saying he needed the money and Shohei did it. And then they fired the interpreter. And then it comes out that Shohei didn't know anything about it. And then he stole the money, all that kind of stuff. So I guess my question to you guys is, do you think that Shohei really knew what was going on? You think the money really got stolen, or where are you guys' thoughts on the whole situation?
You guys were all
go first. Devo?
I read the timeline. I looked it up to see just the timeline of events of how all this shook out. I don't think maybe he initially knew. I don't even know. I mean, I do think he's involved in a sense that this guy, his interpreter, got caught up and he paid it. I mean, he paid it for him, which is just guilty by association, if anything. Right. My initial thought though is it's such a black eye if you're betting on your own sports. So I kind of thought his interpreter was just going to be the fall guy for the whole thing, and Shohei was going to get out. But if you hear about him and what he did in Japan and everything, he's so well respected. It'd be hard for me to believe that he would be betting that much. But then it's also hard for me to believe that an interpreter has a bookie that's taken bets that big from a guy who doesn't have a salary to do that. So still seems a little fishy to me.
What do you think, Mitch?
It's super fishy, in my opinion. What's he gets paid like 1.2 or whatever from Ohtani, the translator, something like that.
Oh, I don't know what the translator made.
I read that something like that, but yeah, like Steve said, I go, it's just, I don't know, man. With how much money and all that, it's hard not to believe and just write your buddy a check for 4.5, but when you're making 70 mil a year, maybe. But yeah, I don't know. It's very, very fishy. I don't know a whole lot about it, but that's just kind of what I've read and, Twitter world, reading all that stuff.
The gambling thing doesn't bother me. What bothers me with athletes betting on sports is if they're throwing games, if they're actually point shaving or throwing. If you're betting on, if he's betting on the Astros game, I mean, yeah, it's like insider knowledge because he's also a major league player, but that's no different if I'm betting on a stock of a company that I know something about because I have, some sort of business relations with. I mean, it's not like he's cheating in that sense.
Right.
I mean, it's still wrong, but that's my Pete Rose thing too, is, he never bet against his team.
Right.
Like he always bet for them to win. So if anything, he was playing harder, legging out more headfirst dives in the second because he was wanting to win, to cover his bets, which is bad, but it's not like he was throwing games. That's what bothered me the most.
Yeah.
And obviously Shohei wasn't throwing games last year. I mean,
no,
he pitched, he hit bombs, he did. I mean, there was no point where it was like, oh, hey, he gave up 4 runs in the first,
Yeah, I agree.
Did you guys see the video of Pete Rose at the casino?
No.
So he's he's with some random guy, and this random guy is like videos sitting next to Pete Rose. They're in Vegas gambling on sports, and he goes, hey, I'm here with my buddy Pete. He's got something to say about the Shohei Ohtani thing, and he puts the phone on Pete, and he goes, wish I had an interpreter.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, that's pretty funny. He's having fun with it. He knows he's not probably getting reinstated and just still gambling his life away. But he obviously has the money to do that probably. But the other thing with the Shohei thing that I think gets me is just how much the stories have changed. Like from when it first came out, and then day or two later, it's a different story. Then, like Steve said, I think the interpreter is just the fall guy in this whole thing. Like, I feel like Shohei probably knew he's probably just helping a buddy out, because that interpreter is with him basically 24/7. And he's just like, oh, you need 4.5 million. All right, here you go. Give it to whoever you need to, or kind of thing. And I don't know. I've read stories that the interpreter had access to Shohei's account, but I wouldn't think he would just let someone have access to all that money, but maybe he did. I don't know. Just could be a dumb Japanese guy, but I don't think Shohei's dumb. So,
well, being a part of my day job, working at banks, even if they had access, like, and I know it's California and it's a whole different world there, but you just don't wire out money like that without the owner of that account knowing. It just doesn't. It's just
you wouldn't think,
easy, right?
So like, would you let somebody like since you work at a bank, like if something like that, they're like, hey, I'm not on this account, but I'm his interpreter. Like, I want to wire this 4.5 million. Are you like, sure, go ahead? Or are you calling them up like, hey, did you authorize this? Like, would you do that?
Right. He would have to have full access to everything. And he's his interpreter, right? He's not his financial planner. Right. He's not his investment guy. So, and I know he trusted him. That was like the first person he met when he came to the States, but it's hard for me to believe that he stole money out of the account without him. It's not like his wallet was left on the counter and he took $4 million out of it.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. There's some fishiness to it. I think Major League Baseball has had so much tarnishment over the years. They're going to do everything they can to make it go away because the sport, I don't even know where they're trending in popularity anymore. Not with women's basketball, dominating everything right now.
Oh my gosh.
Here we go. It's over.
But baseball can't take another black eye like that, like the steroid scandal and stuff. And because they'll be sunk.
I will say sponsorship. Citizens First wouldn't let that happen. Would they? They would have flagged that.
They would have flagged it.
There we go.
Flagged it.
Steve's the president of Citizens First Bank. Stenda, I don't know if you knew that or not.
All right, well, you're a big dog, so
big dog.
Give me some free money.
We're a community bank that likes to support the local sports. That's how we all tie together.
Yeah. We need sponsorship. I go to Steve a lot on things for football. So
it's called cherry picking, Dustin.
Yeah. I'm sure he's good at that, ain't he?
It's nice to know people. It's about who you know, not what you know.
Right,
Learned
right,
that a
right.
long
Yeah,
time
it
ago.
is.
Mitch could probably
Oh,
say
for
that
sure,
with
absolutely.
his day gig he's got. Jeez.
The dude makes like $200K and works like 6 hours a week.
Come on now.
Hey, his boss might be
Yeah.
listening. He tells me he's working all the time.
Thank you. Appreciate
Yeah.
that.
We'll end the
kids.
discussion there.
Yep.
Anybody got any thoughts on Shohei? I don't think the MLB is going to do anything about it. I know they're claiming they're investigating it. Probably more the interpreter than Shohei, but he's one of the biggest names in the league and has a $700 million contract. So I'm sure they're gonna maybe like just put this one under the table, but I don't know. We'll see.
What about like just quick conspiracy theory? What if the Dodgers went out of that contract?
Yeah,
and they're setting him up.
Well, yeah,
Steve.
Like they just knew they made a huge mistake. Sure.
That'd
Want
be
to get him
wild.
out of there?
Yeah, Dateline will cover it. You watch.
Chris Hansen
Chris Hansen.
showing up.
I don't know.
Stinda, you got any thoughts?
Here's the thing, though. There was two transactions that showed his name, Otani or whatever, for $500K, saying it was a loan. There was two separate, so that totals $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
So, like what you guys all talk about, they are friends. He trusts them. What I did read is that it is very common, though, for they interviewed some interpreters like throughout MLB that have done it before in the past. And they said it was actually very common for an interpreter to have access to financial records and to other things like they talked about. When they get there, they help them through the process, getting a driver's license, the day-to-day operations, that it's actually not uncommon for him to have access to his, bank records. Now, again, Steve said there's more to that, having that type of access. But I kind of look at like either he knew about it and trusted him and then was like, holy shit, you racked up this $4.5 million gambling debt, or he is simply a moron. Like literally, like just trusted him and said, he's my buddy. He would never do this. And this guy just, I don't know. Cause I have a hard time believing that he didn't know. He's probably very intelligent. I mean, so to say you didn't know that listen, I don't care if you're worth $200 million, $4.5 million is missing in your bank account.
Yeah. He's worth $700 million. So he might not.
$700 million.
I don't know.
I'm still
had that much money. I probably wouldn't be looking at my bank account very much either, but I don't look at my bank account that much, and I don't have that much money. Yeah. It's definitely an interesting story. See how it all shapes up. I did see that Rob Manfred did say it's going to be over fairly quickly here. I saw that he was on a podcast a couple days ago, and he said that. So we'll see how it goes.
I don't know. I guess if he did, do you guys really think here's a question. Do any of you think that him himself was actually gambling? Do you think do you think that he maybe he's addicted to gambling, just not in baseball?
It's hard to say. I don't know. I've never even heard him speak. I don't know what he does.
I don't know nowadays how easy it is to gamble with just picking up your phone and a couple buttons and boom.
Right.
Absolutely.
Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah,
I would say no, but nothing surprises me anymore. So.
Yeah, I would also say no, but yeah, you never know. Mitch is right though. It is easy to pick up your phone and click a couple buttons and put some money down on a random
whatever
Mac
anything
football game like
Mac
Steve
action.
does sometimes.
Wednesday Mac action.
Wednesday Mac action. Steve's betting on that.
That'll do it.
I don't know.
Or like women's soccer or something, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Was it on DraftKings? Is that where he was betting through? Because that's why I read some about DraftKings.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know if it was. I know that, yeah. I'm not sure on where he was, but that's a lot of money going through DraftKings.
Yeah.
That's definitely getting flagged.
For sure.
I was just going to say, wouldn't that get flagged? If you're like, oh, I'm going to bet $500,000 or like,
Yeah.
You would think so. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't bet that much.
You don't have to look at me. I don't care how much you bet. You might have to explain that to your wife.
Yeah,
but I
for
don't.
sure.
I mean,
Yeah, you
I don't
guys
give
are
a
all
shit.
married. You all got to explain it. I ain't got to explain to nobody. I'd bet whatever I want to bet. I don't care.
You got to figure it out, dude.
What's that? Did you say I got to figure it out?
Report to nobody. There you go.
Yeah.
No, man, it's solo. It's way easier that way. I'll tell you that.
For sure.
We do have a funny comment that we got Jason Farr did say when you're talking about WrestleMania,
saw
we will
that.
talk about wrestling later in the tier talk, and WrestleMania might get brought up as well. But Sean Lawrence, can you read that, Mitch?
Here we go.
So
I can't.
Sean they do fireworks, in the neighborhood on 4th of July, and I'm pretty sure Mitch said this, right?
Yes.
There's
This was like 4 years ago.
the fireworks were
There was an incident.
there was one with like a firework shot at some kids, and Mitch says these fireworks brought to you by Citizens First Bank. And that's the bank that Steve runs. So I just thought it was just a funny little story there.
Very funny,
Yeah.
Andrea.
It's all Andrea. That's
Yeah, Andrea's definitely commenting.
Sean's probably sleeping on the couch and Andrea's typing on. Get it?
Andrea's a saint. There's no way she's saying stuff like that. Next topic here we're gonna get into is Steve's boy. Steve is a Chiefs fan, diehard Kansas City Chiefs fan. Yeah.
Here we go.
Yep. But
That's
they
all
had
Hey, Mr. 7 titles.
What's that?
Mr. 6 titles.
Feels good. Feels real good, man.
Oh, here we go.
Well, Steve could argue when was the last one the Steelers won, though.
We don't need to talk. It doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter because
They do
we
have
got
6,
6.
so I guess it doesn't
I
matter,
watched
yeah.
Ben win 2 of them. Should have won 3, but no big deal. Let's talk about the Chiefs because I do like. They actually are good. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Well, I grew up south of Kansas City, and my family did. So I grew up a Chiefs fan, and they were awful. I saw maybe 2 playoff games my entire childhood. I was a huge Derek Thomas fan growing up. So I watched him just be horrible. And then they draft Patrick Mahomes, trade up to draft Patrick Mahomes. And I'm like, why would we do this? And then I just, whatever, cried about it. And Andy Reid proved me wrong. And now everyone hates the Chiefs. 5 years ago, everyone's like, oh, this is great. The Chiefs are, the new team. And then they win a couple. And then everyone's like, nope, no one likes a winner.
yeah.
So
It's
No,
true.
they don't. No, they don't.
well, I hope they go on and win 10 more.
I don't.
Yeah. Caleb Williams got something to say about that
Yeah.
in the Bears uniform.
God, I hope so.
Oh God, Mitch, what did you just say, dude?
Hey,
Stop.
keep taking our leftovers, buddy. Keep taking them.
Take it.
Oh my God. Are you
So,
a Bears fan? Are you a Bears fan, Mitch?
Yeah, he's a Bears
Oh
fan.
my God. I forgot. I don't even know what. Jesus. Good Lord. Silence.
Caleb Williams to the promised land. Let's
There we go. Oh yeah. Oh
You
yeah.
guys see that every year when you draft a quarterback, though.
Hey, one's got to hit. One's got to hit.
Yeah, we
sometime.
gotta get lucky here sometimes.
Somebody's got to hit.
Stindy, remember that time they took Trubisky over Patrick Mahomes?
I do. Yeah, I do remember that. Yep.
That was a
And then,
solid,
and then
solid
he didn't
choice.
work out, and they traded him to the Steelers. Remember that?
Yeah.
And then they took Justin Fields, didn't work out, and they traded him to the Steelers.
Well, and what would the Steelers do? Well, besides Trubisky actually did win a few games for us, though. He helped us a little bit. But
A few. He won a few for the Bears one year too. But
True. All that year they went to the playoffs. When they
yes, yeah, they did go to the playoffs. Then that was I'm pretty sure Mitch was at the double doink game. That was Trubisky.
Yeah, Cody Parkey game. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was awesome.
Mitch was at that game.
Yep. Saw the first field goal go right through the uprights, and the second one, nope, twice.
Yeah,
Doop doop. Nope.
tough loss. Right
Awesome.
there.
Yeah. Great
Sure.
time.
All right. So what we were going to talk about with the Chiefs is the Rashee Rice deal. So he is the owner of a Corvette and then rents out a Lamborghini and decides to street race on a freeway in daylight at like 6 o'clock in the evening. And then wrecks the cars, and a couple other cars are involved. Some are injured, and then they leave the scene of accident without talking to anybody or getting any insurance information or what the normal people do when they get in an accident, right? Stina, you would know, you're a cop. That's what you got to do, right?
Maybe call the police. That would
Yeah,
be
maybe call the police. Yeah,
Hey,
I guess
we
that
just
would be a good
crashed.
start.
People are injured, stuck in their vehicles. We're just going to walk away.
So I just don't understand, you had the whole like Henry Ruggs thing where that was obviously a lot more serious situation than this one, but still kind of the same concept, a guy driving way too fast for too fast in general, and then obviously killing people in the process. But I just don't understand. And I know you guys probably don't have answers either, but why these guys continue to like just make poor decisions on thinking they can street race, or they kind of already have it all, and then they might possibly ruin it for them. What's your thoughts on it as a Chiefs fan, Steve?
Well, I mean, as a Chiefs fan, it sucks, right? I mean, he was wide receiver number 1 and will likely serve a suspension, as he should. I was glad no one was hurt, obviously. I mean, I told Dustin that earlier in the week, like, glad no one was killed, and I hope he's back on the field. But, I played small school college football, and I played with guys that didn't come up with a lot of, I don't know, good leadership or common sense or whatever you want to call it. And they get some money and they don't know what to do with it besides just be absolute idiots with it. So, I mean, we had guys in college that would take classes, drop them, get the student loan money back and buy like crotch rockets and stuff, and I'm like, you still got to pay that money back.
Yeah.
Well, these guys get a rookie signing bonus and, buy stuff that they've dreamed of their whole life and support their family. I mean, look at the, like the Mike Vick thing and was it like Bart Scott said he had like 7 houses he was taking care of people in that broke documentary. So, some of it is just these guys get done with the season. He moved back to Texas where he went to school. I think he was SMU. And then suddenly it was, he doesn't have anybody watching over him. He doesn't have coaches saying you got to be at practice every day. He doesn't have anyone saying you got to do this. It's a free for all in the off season. And every year people make stupid mistakes. I went to a banking conference once and Chad Greenway spoke and, 15-year NFL vet or whatever he had. And he's like, there's guys that came into camp every year that were more talented than I was, but didn't know how to handle themselves when they got money, wouldn't do off-season stuff, wouldn't do whatever, just got their first paychecks and lived an $800,000 or $1.2 million lifestyle, blew it all, and didn't work out in the NFL. So that could be it for him. I mean, he could come into camp next year and struggle and have a suspension and withheld and fade off into the distance. You don't know, but you can lead a horse to water with some of these guys, but there's just, I don't know.
Can't make them drink it.
Nope.
No.
Money is the root of all evil.
Yeah, like Steve said, you can take a horse of water, but you can't make him drink. Like, this guy won a Super Bowl, young dude, bunch of money, out living life recklessly, just thinking he can just do whatever he wants, and unfortunately, in a bad situation, caught up to him, and now he's got to face the consequences of what comes up. But that's just a lot of money for young guys, and they just do dumb stuff.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Yeah, if he was not a Chiefs player, it'd be a whole lot better.
Yeah, I know it's unfortunate. I mean, all the stuff I'm reading about it, everyone says like he's like a really good kid and like all that. But I mean, good people make mistakes too, yes. But it is unfortunate. Like Steve said, though, glad that nobody, got seriously injured. I know there were some people that got taken for like checkups and stuff and things like that. But
and there'll be lawsuits pending after that.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like minor injuries suddenly turn into chronic injuries, suddenly turn into, it's not the fleeing the scene and those things. He'll pay those fines and be done with it. He's going to have lawsuits after him.
Stendo, what is since you're a cop, what is the normal penalty for like a fleeing the scene or hit and run type thing in an accident?
Well, they'd be, obviously they differ, state by state, but like in Iowa, I think like leaving the scene of an accident, like if there's no injury, it's like maybe a serious misdemeanor. And then probably in his case with injury, it might be an aggravated, could be a D felony, but here's the thing. The bottom line is, even if that happens here in Iowa, like he wasn't drunk or anything like that. He's got a lack of criminal history. He's not going to have any jail time. He's going to get a suspended sentence, deferred judgment, and he's going to pay the fines and be done. So, I mean, it works in his favor because lack of criminal history and those things. So yeah, really at the end of the day, it's like, he's not, like the Henry Ruggs deal. I think he killed, somebody died from his, his accident. So yeah, you're going to go to probably have jail time or prison. But in this case, he'll just get stacked with fines. Like you said, Steve, he'll pay him off. It'll be done. And yeah, he'll face the litigation process of these families coming after him, civilly, which again, at the end of the day, will be the insurance companies that'll pay out for it. It's not like he's going to have to pay out of his pocket besides whatever he pays his attorneys to civilly and then the insurance company. But
assuming he had him insured.
Yeah.
It's the other thing, like, he buys these things cash, or the one was leased.
Yeah.
So he paid like the $35 like to lease the vehicle, like insurance coverage. But I mean, he could get himself really financially screwed.
Wasn't that I read too? Didn't they find some marijuana in the car too?
Yeah, I didn't read that.
That was his friend's.
That was his friend's.
Oh, yeah. So
Chiefs fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was a small amount, but I think they did find in one of the cars. I don't know. They both were obviously registered to him. So
yeah, I think he was hanging out with Cole Komet that day.
Oh
no, definitely not. I saw the people that got out of that car. Cole Komet was not one of them.
Did not look like him.
Did not look like him at all. But nice try.
He was in the back.
Do you guys? Here's a question for all you guys. Steve, you made a good point about like the background of where they come from. I think we do forget about that. Like they don't have a lot of direction. People come from different backgrounds growing up, whether you're white, African-American, Hispanic, doesn't matter. Right. And a lot of those guys in like NFL specifically, they don't have the same opportunities that we had, they just don't. And it's not their fault where, like you said, they didn't have things growing up. They didn't have money. They really actually worked for it. And then they get there. But do you think does the NFL do a good enough job? Because I would imagine they probably have, when these people come in the league, they have to have people that are like mentors for them within the organizations. Like, hey, you just signed a $10 million contract. This is how much money you're going to be taking in. Like, you think they kind of set them up like, you're getting all this money, we're not really helping you. Like they know they're just going to be a statistic at some point, because they have to know there's probably some players that are just going to mess up and they're going to wash themselves out of the league. Like, could they do a better job of helping them transition from college to the NFL or professionally?
I mean, I'm certainly sure they try, right? I mean, the thing is, a lot of people don't understand how NFL contracts work. I mean, if you sign a $1 million contract, you don't get that over 12 months. You get that over the 17 weeks of the NFL.
Yeah.
So they just get this money. They go from being broke in college. They do the combine. I mean, now the NIL stuff's a little different, so they have money. But, they go through summer workouts and they show up to NFL camp and they're just getting thousands of dollars, just dumped into their account the next day that they've never had.
Yep.
So I'm sure the NFL goes through that process. I'm sure they, speak to their blue in their face on what they should do. And like I heard a thing about Gronkowski once that he never cashed a game check. He never spent a game check. He had a financial advisor right after draft, and they took everything and put it in a separate account, and he lived off his signing bonus. His entire, like his bonuses and his endorsements is the only thing he lived off of. But if you don't take that advice, I mean, what's the first thing you're going to do if you get a huge chunk of money, right? You're going to buy a Corvette.
Yeah.
If you're not smart with it. So I'm sure the NFL does. I mean, how much, and it's hard to say that they're adults because they're 22, 23 years old, but how much hand holding do you need to do? I'm sure the teams probably put more investment in to try to get these guys, because they are, they are assets of the team to be able to, they sign them to contracts. They want them to be successful, but it's just not going to work for everybody, because you're going to have guys that are they're going to screw it up, and then you'll get guys like, Kirk Cousins, who will get $400 million. He probably still has $399 million to his name, because uses Kohl's cash for everything. So, but it just
Cash.
depends. Some guys are really responsible, some aren't, and some just get the money and live their life.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm with you guys. Like, it's just stupid. It's like, why throw it away? But I don't know.
Well, and Tanner Weber commented, and I think Steve hit it too, that money changes people too. Like if you're like you were saying, Stenda, like a kid coming from nothing, and then all of a sudden they're getting millions of dollars.
Yeah.
They're probably going to make some poor decisions with how, at least what they're spending it on, and then what they're doing with it and how they're saving it and all that. And I'm sure the NFL probably has like financial advisors or people come in and talk to the team about how to handle money, especially probably to rookies. I don't know for sure, but I'm sure they have something like that in place. And obviously, some of them listen, some of them don't. So
it's unfortunate because we all sit here like, oh man, if that was ever the case, like if I was ever given, $500,000, like I wouldn't save it either, right? Like,
Right.
Have fun.
Yeah.
I would do something stupid with it too, but to get in a car and race your buddy, like you have the money at that. You have the money at that point. Go to Vegas and like rent this, an airplane strip to go speed on them if you want.
Right.
To,
yeah. Yeah. Don't do it on an interstate where there's several other cars,
in one of the most popular cities in the United States.
Right. Yeah.
True.
Oh,
I don't know. Yeah. What do you do?
But those, that's how Stenda keeps his job.
Yeah.
People doing stupid stuff.
Yeah, we don't get that. We don't get racers up here in Desert, Iowa. I'll tell you that. Yeah, you got the old granny. She going like 27 and 25.
Yeah, see, no one can speed there because the exhaust is so loud in that county.
Yeah, it's like, hey man, like we leave the old grannies alone. We're nice to them. Just make sure you wear your seatbelt. That's all I ask. Actually,
you probably want some of that action there in Dicer. Just a little street race, a little high speed chase. That'd be fun, wouldn't it?
We had a guy, one of the guys here a while ago, this is a couple years ago. He like chased a 16-year-old girl like around the city. And she she wasn't, I wouldn't say she was racing, but she didn't get away from him, but he thought it was, I remember when it happened, I thought, oh boy, he was so excited. I'm like, dude, it's like a 16-year-old girl. Like she was just scared to pull over. So she just kept running from him.
She kept going. That's funny.
I'm like, oh my goodness, man.
Yeah. High speed chase would be fun. Steve, aren't you like a citizen cop or something? Or didn't you get
so I did the Citizens Police Academy.
That's right.
With the Clinton Police Department.
Okay.
So you did ride-alongs. They had the shooting simulator, which was
Fats
awesome.
machine, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's so realistic. Like, I mean, and then I'm a part of the nonprofit here in town, the Friends of the Comanche Police.
Okay.
So,
that's cool. Yeah.
Like I said, I got a brother in law enforcement, so I, fully support what you do, Stenda.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunately it's one of those things. It's just an ongoing thing. No matter how much time and effort you put in, it's never going to slow down. I don't think.
No, it's not like you said. The best thing about it, I always look at it this way: there's always a job. Like you say, you got to worry about it. There's always a job. I'm like, it's really actually a very easy profession. It really is. It's just your people skills. If you have people skills, you're good.
Right. And the thing I would like, to get back to is where, police officers are idolized. Like when you were a kid, like you saw a police officer, you were like, thought they were the coolest thing. And the way they get treated now, which is better, I think, than the civil unrest a few years ago. But yeah, just unfortunate, the whole defund police and all that type stuff. So
yeah.
Anyway, back to sports.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Argue.
We got a couple of comments on it, and Steve will probably appreciate this. And this is in a text thread earlier with me. Sean Lawrence said, "Have Steve tell the story of getting his shot blocked into the wall, into the gym wall." I don't know if Steve's going to share that or not, but
it's a really quick story.
Yeah. All right.
When I moved in this neighborhood, I went and played pickup basketball on a Sunday, and Sean Lawrence played. And I went for a shot that was clearly got half my body, maybe almost upended, and there was no foul called because it's a pickup game where you kind of call your own. And Sean went the other direction and said, "You can't call that," and just took off laughing. And everyone just kind of said, "You got to get used to playing with Sean." So, and then the worst part about it was, it's 10 years later, and Sean still talks about it. But I think Colin Sullivan brought it up to me like that night. He goes, "Hey, I heard Sean swatted you at basketball today." I'm like, "Oh man, I'm never gonna live it down."
Nope.
Yeah. It only takes one time.
The bruising's gone out of my arm, which is good.
Nice. WrestleMania, Logan Paul beats Orton and Owens.
Hey, you skipped one.
Is that tonight?
Yeah, it was a 2-night. There's last night and tonight. WrestleMania.
All right.
Yeah.
You skipped one.
What did I skip?
Yeah, I don't know if you want to.
What?
I kind of like this. Why not?
What? Which one? The mid? Ask
Mitch if he's ever swum with a turd in Mexico.
All right. Yeah.
With a what?
With a turd.
From who?
A turd.
Sean.
Sean.
A turd in Mexico.
I don't even know if I want to answer that. I mean,
Dude, hey, you're on.
The guy
Hey,
asked me the
listen,
question,
you're on
obviously
here. I
did
want to
that.
hear about it. You're gonna tell us. Come on.
all right.
man.
So we were in Mexico, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years ago, something like that. And, we're snorkeling. I'm not. My wife, Melissa, is, because she can swim. I cannot. So I just stand where you can just stand. And she's down there swimming and whatever. And then all of a sudden, Mr. Hanky pops out, and Melissa pops up and goes, "Is that a turd?" And Sean Lawrence is dying laughing nonstop. And we found out that he was the guy, and he said, I wanted to feed the fish. And you went down there and looked, and the fish were going crazy over Sean Lawrence's turd. So
No.
Wow.
It was international water, so it was legal.
it was fine. Yeah, 100% fine.
Oh,
But yeah,
That's
It's
hilarious.
sanitized. It's good.
sure.
Salt water.
Sure.
Mitch, you can't swim?
No, God, no.
What?
I did not know that.
Why do we have to go down this route?
I didn't know you
No,
couldn't
no.
swim. You're the one that just said it.
What? No, I know. I don't like to say it, but you see me at Sean's pool, and I just stand in the shallow end, or
Yeah.
I don't go in the water.
I just thought it's because you like the kids.
I can swim out as good as they can, so just leave it as that. And yeah, my parents never gave me swim lessons as a child, but my mom claims that she did, and I do not remember it because I cannot be this bad at swimming.
Yeah.
I mean, Sid has been with me in the river, like.
Oh yeah.
I got to do the life jacket upside down, the diaper thing, and I'm cool then. I can do it. Then you got him and RJ swimming to Arkansas and back, like no big deal. And here I am, like holding on to the boat, like you guys when you come back, like no, swimming's not my deal, man.
Well, I'll tell you that you don't swim in the Mississippi River. I don't care. I will never do that again.
Yeah.
I used to. You just nope. Mm-mm.
Yeah. Nope.
Well, you might have to take swim lessons in Steve's pool this summer, man.
I know.
Yeah.
Maybe me and Addie can go to the YMCA and do it together.
There you go.
Apparently, because I can't do it. So next topic.
All right, next topic. Let's do it. So we got some questions for Steve and Mitch here, since we have two former college athletes in the house here. Mitch played some college baseball at Ashford. He doesn't like bringing it up, but he's going to bring it up tonight.
Hey, I heard stories about. I've heard things about him too. Guys that came through there when I was there, and he was a ball.
All right, you'll have to share some. And then Steve played college football at University of Dubuque. I don't have any of Mitch's college stats or anything because he wouldn't have shared them with me anyway.
Perfect.
But Steve, as we mentioned at the start, he graduated from Comanche High School. He's actually second all time in tackles in Comanche High School history at 269 tackles. So he also has he's in the top 10 in a couple categories at UD as well. Top 10 in career tackles for loss, second in fumbles forced in a season, fourth in fumbles forced in a career, third in fumbles recovered in a season. So that's Steve. Okay, that's what I have down. And fourth in fumbles recovered. So he obviously is some defensive stats there. And Mitch played baseball at Ashford. So This question is for both of them. So kind of talk about, each of you talk about kind of your journey going through high school and what made you decide to pick where you went to college and kind of how that went. So Steve or Mitch, who wants to go first?
Go for it, dude.
I mean, I guess my journey came up with just like any other kids. Like I played all the normal sports growing up. I mean, I can tell you, like I was never, I wouldn't consider myself an athlete at all. I would think I was like athletic in the sense that I could, run and jump. But I never could catch. I could never throw. I wasn't great at batting. I mean, I played all those sports, but I was obviously a linebacker, and my job was to just run and tackle people. So,
Yeah.
being, I was played baseball and everything. Got to middle school, played basketball, did all those type of stuff. Went out for football. My cousin played college football at the time, so he kind of got the bug. And they were like, "Okay, you're gonna play offensive line," and I was like, "All right." My parents supported me on everything, but they didn't like push me like you got to be the quarterback, you got to be this. And I knew I couldn't do it anyway. I couldn't catch or throw if I had to. So I played offensive line. I was a little guy, I was like 5'6", 140 pounds or something. And then from my freshman year to my 8th grade year to my freshman year, I grew 6 inches. So my mom sent me my ID recently, and I was 6'1", 140 pounds. Like I grew 6 inches in the summer and then didn't gain a pound. So I played offensive line. I did whatever, the coaches asked me to do because I was like truly like a role player. Basketball, we weren't, very good. I played center when you go to a small school, so I could literally cut from like the block to like the free throw line and turn and shoot 15 footers, but like I didn't dribble. I didn't, I couldn't shoot from the outside. So I was never a kid that like wanted to, thought that I was like going to be the star or anything like that. Even when I got into varsity levels, I still played offensive line. I think senior year, they tried me some tight end type of stuff, but I just developed in the sense that I did go from about 180 pounds, maybe when I graduated, if I was lucky, to I played my senior year at 245. So it was just a lot of weight room stuff, a lot of eating. But all I could really do is just run faster than people and tackle everybody. So I got obviously a lot of accolades because I was good at grabbing other guys and bringing them to the ground, but it wasn't anything that I was super
hip drop tackles.
Yeah, hip drop tackles that was my specialty. But when it came to like other sports, basketball, I rebounded and blocked shots and scored some points, and baseball was the same thing. I was useful. I could hit occasionally. I didn't bat no 400 or anything, if I hit the ball, it went far, but a lot of times it went really, really far left, out of bounds. But I don't, sports for me growing up was just something that all my buddies did. And they're like, hey, you should, the coaches like, you should run track. So I ran track, was kind of close to qualifying for discus. I missed it by a few feet, was decent at running. But I didn't qualify for anything. I mean, I would be like one of those guys who'd be like a decent, like, decathlon guy.
Yeah.
Cause I was like a little bit good at everything, but I wasn't great at anything. So went to college. I got actually recruited by quite a few schools. I did take a preferred walk-on at Iowa State. I was there for a short time, transferred into UD because I had some friends there. And we weren't good. I mean, the program's a lot better now than it was when I was there. So I played I have a lot of stats, but I played in 39 of 40 games and started 37 or 38 of them. So, and our offense was not very good. So we were on the field like 90 to 100 plays.
Ooh.
So if you look at some of the top 10 on those stats, it's like some of the guys I played with. So when you have that many guys on the same defense that are in the top tackles, it's because it's not good. So, but they all, they're all guys that I still talk to today and still friends with and have great experiences from that standpoint. But for me, football was one of those things that I found my niche, playing linebacker and had some instincts to do that. But if you were to be like, hey, you're 6'3", 240 pounds, like you'd be a good tight end, like, no, I'm catching maybe like 5 out of every 10, I know I had a pick one time and it was just like tunnel vision. Like I caught it and like everything was, and I just ran straight into somebody like, why don't you juke that guy? And I'm like, there's no juking, man. Like it's, I don't know what I was doing. I just caught the ball and just took off. So, but yeah, I did that. And I had some workouts after college. Went and worked out for some teams, actually at Ohio State. I got invited to a combine. Didn't make it anywhere. Got a call to go work out for 2 teams in Canada and chose not to follow up with it. And some of my college buddies were like, what do you think? What are you doing? Like, in like Canada was paying like 40 grand a year. And I'm like, well, I could take a job and make that.
Yeah.
I was beat up. I had a lot of game action. We were bad. So we practiced like full pads every day. There was no like, shoulders and helmets and one day of full pads. I mean, we went after each other because we were trying to figure out how to be a team, and it paid off for UD. They obviously went on to have a lot of success and still have a pretty good program and stuff. But the early years of UD when I was there was, I mean, we would lose games because we did have a really good defense statistically, but we would lose games like 17-7. And I mean, it was. We won 5 games my whole career.
Really?
Yeah.
Who was was it Vince Broadham? Was he the coach?
Vince Brodigan was our
I remember him. Yeah.
Yeah. So he had come from a college in Wisconsin. We had a ton of success. Brought in a lot of guys from like Detroit, Chicago, Florida. We had a lot of diversity at UD. I'm sure you saw it. Your short time. So, but no, I mean that's kind of my journey. I played just all sports, did whatever the coaches asked of me because it was, would it have been cool to be the star wide receiver? Yeah, but I was also realistic, and we won. My junior year, we were ranked 4th in the state. We were pretty good. Basketball, we were really good. We both kind of came up short on both of those journeys for our state tourney runs, but I got to watch some of that, and then I didn't play a whole lot of basketball as a junior, but I watched a bunch. And then senior year, we were awful. I mean, I had a broken hand. I didn't play until the second half of the year, and we went 1-18. Ooh. I mean, we were so bad at basketball. My freshman year, we lost a game 82-5.
Oh my God.
Well, 82-5
to Northeast.
A freshman game.
Freshman
82 points.
So we came out, scored the first 5 points.
Oh no.
my friend Nate Duncan, who you guys have met.
Yeah.
Hit a 3, hit a 2. We were up 5-0, and they started pressing us, and we couldn't break the press. And our coach freaked out, pulled all the starters and sat them, and they just went off and went 82-5. They went on the next year. We go to Northeast and we beat them. Everyone's like, how do you beat them? All those kids played varsity.
Oh, there you go. Perfect.
So we beat a bunch of freshmen the next year.
Nice.
But we weren't big rivals with Northeast. We were rivals with DeWitt, actually. So
the Sabres.
Yeah. 82-5. That was bad. The upperclassmen really rode us on that. And then some team in Texas, 2 weeks later, got beat 101-3.
Perfect.
So
it worked out then.
Yeah, we got a clean slate.
An 82-0 run though. That's wild.
Yikes.
I ran into a guy probably a month ago that I knew was on that team. And I said something to him and he goes, I wasn't going to say anything.
Oh,
yeah. I was like, well, we beat you guys the next year. He goes, yeah, we were all on varsity the next year.
Yeah.
Whatever, dude.
Win's a win.
Yeah. You won the last game.
All right, Mitch, talk about yourself a little bit here.
What are we saying?
Your high school to college and how you got there, how you ended up there.
Yeah. High school, obviously, a lot of people that know me, I'm not a very big dude, 5'8". So knew that basketball.
Come on, Mitch. Come on.
Dude, I try to say 5'9" at home, and my wife just, nah.
I got David Lakin syndrome, man, saying 5'8".
I say that I'm 5'9" too.
Lakin shout out. Knew I wasn't going to be a very good basketball guy. I went to a pretty solid big high school, 6A school. So I knew basketball wasn't really an option for me. So baseball is kind of the route that I went because I don't know. My personal opinion, your height doesn't really matter in baseball because you can kind of get away with that. A lot of times just hitting in the cage by myself in the summertime, stuff like that. I'd tell my son Braden all the time, like, hey man, I spend a lot of my weekends, weeknights in the summer just hitting in the cage by myself, picking up a ball, putting on a tee, hit. My dad would throw, BP and stuff like that to me. Did a lot of that. Got the opportunity to get a couple offers to go play baseball in college. Got one from, at the time, it was Mount St. Clair. And I was like, where's Clinton, Iowa? I have no idea where that place is at. So woke up one morning, went on a drive, slept, got up here, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is Clinton. Cool. Return to the campus, and then noontime, that Purina ADM smell hit, and it's like, oh, this is a spot for me, man. Like, this is, and like the coaches, like some of the, recruits that were on the staff, or recruits that were there that I could possibly play with, decided, this is a good spot for me. It was probably about 1,500 people smaller than my high school, right around there. So that was a big change, going to a big school to a small college, because you're used to going to college and there's 100, 200 people in a lecture hall, blah blah blah. There were some high school classes that I had that were bigger than my time at Ashford, so that was that was kind of different, but it was a very, very good choice for me. My parents, we sat me down, like, this is a small school, is probably a good fit for you. Where it comes to, your teachers, they know you, you can go to them for anything, stuff like that. Just, it worked out well, and just happened to be able to play baseball in college, which was awesome. Met some super good dudes that, like Steve said today, that I, still talk to, still hang out with. Buddy Adam Love was at my house a couple weeks ago, coming, watching an Illinois game, so we stay in contact. And I don't know, man, it's just, coming to Clinton, Iowa, you didn't think, you're like, I'll go there for 4 years, and then boom, I'm gone. Like, find something else, go back to Champaign, do something like that. Obviously I was lucky to meet my wife here, and then went away for a little bit, like I said, come back and put our roots in. Now we're in Comanche, and it's just, crazy going to school in Clinton, and then we'd go and practice. Stenda, we'd practice at Comanche High School. Yeah. And I'm like, why are we practicing at a high school?
Why is there a hill in right field?
Yes, correct. Yeah. Like, man, to go chase down a fly ball in right field was hard, because you're running up that, that hill, that incline.
Yeah.
You 4 years, drive through Comanche, go to the high school, do it over and over and over. And here I am driving home now, going, pulling in my driveway, and got 2 kids now, Braden and Addie, and with Melissa. And it's just, I don't know, man, it's just, everything comes full circle, so pretty cool journey so far.
Did you play? Did you play football or anything in high school? Did you do?
No. Nope.
Really?
Nope. So my childhood best friend now, Brian Banks, who some people might see him, he's an NCAA ref.
Okay.
And he does the UFL stuff. He's climbed the ladder doing that. He was the quarterback, and we actually had a 5-star Army All-American guy, Marquise Johnson. He was the number 12 or 13 player in the country. He was a wide receiver. So my job in the summertime, when Brian would text me, hey, we're going to go to the field, run some routes. Can you come and cover Marquise? I go, really? A 5'9", 150-pound dudes covering a 6'2", shredded dude that runs a 4.4. Yeah, sure. I'll get in his way, I guess, and I don't know. It was just, super cool to kind of be around someone that was that highly touted. And he ended up going to Texas out of college, like Mac Brown, and he's in the same recruiting class with Vince Young and all those guys. Craziest talented dude I've ever been around.
Did you get any picks?
No. I should have told him, like, hey, dude, he's going to cut this way. I'm going to cut this way. You just throw it towards the sideline. I'll pick it.
Just give me one.
Yeah.
Give me one.
Unfortunately, no. God, man, should go back and do that.
Yeah.
Man.
There you go.
What'd you play in? What position did you play?
I played center field, and then I played left field would have been sophomore year when Adam Love, who I want to give a shout out again, because that dude is the most talented athlete I've ever been around when it comes to anything. He played with us at Ashford. Then he went and tried out for the Steamwheelers, made the team, didn't take the invitation just because he wanted to just know that he could do it. And he was just crazy talented. And then I played center field all the other 2 years. But
I bet you batted leadoff, didn't you?
I did, yes.
Yeah, you did. You were a lefty too, weren't you?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yep.
I heard some stories.
How many?
I've seen him throw tennis balls at cars in the neighborhood that are speeding. I mean, he's got a rocket.
Don't do that. Don't come down Lawrence Avenue driving fast.
You got to be driving 25 or less. Or
if you get past my house, Sean Lawrence is going to throw dumbbells at you. So you figure it out.
Mitch is doing anything he can to slow down those speeders down
Slow
more.
it down, buddy. Slow it down. I'm trying to do your job, Stin. I'm trying to help you guys out. You know,
Listen, man. Hey, you just let them speed. That's what you do. Let them go. Leave the people alone, man.
Not worth the paperwork.
Yeah, right. Jeez,
Too
There you go.
many kids playing around.
Uh-huh.
Can't do that.
Could be having that.
It's
So
probably
Mitch, you
Mitch's
batted
fault.
you batted lead off.
Mhm.
How many times did you bunt for a hit?
I was a
Were you-
big bunt guy.
oh,
I know.
I used to do that a lot too.
I know, a lot of people nowadays are like, oh, the bunt. What are we doing for a bunt? Oh, it's an out, blah, blah, blah. Well, if you can bunt the right way, you can get on base a lot of the times.
Especially if you're a lefty and you have
Correct.
speed. which
Well, if you're a
Trey
lefty
did.
and there's a lefty on the mound, you can basically bunt the ball right to the second baseman because that lefty's falling off towards
Yeah.
third base.
Yep.
There's a huge gap. You're going to make it because that first baseman either has to commit to that ball or cover, and the second baseman doesn't know if he has to commit to that ball or go get it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a hard play to do.
You still take a pitch. You still take the first pitch if you're going to bunt.
Usually first pitch is a fastball, so no, I'm ready to roll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But after that, it depends if they're up in the count, down the count, what they throw, So
I used to bunt for a hit a lot down the third base line.
yeah,
That's what
if
I
you
do
saw
a lot.
that
Yeah.
third baseman
Yeah.
guy sitting back and you can just grab it down,
Yeah.
absolutely. No, I'm 100% down for that. Yeah.
Mitch is being
It's
pretty
kinda your fault.
modest. He's being modest. I never saw him play baseball, but I've seen him play softball and kickball. Remember we did kickball in Preston?
Oh boy.
And listen, hey, no, I'm not
Why are we
kidding.
talking about
Listen,
this?
listen, this dude, he says he's little. Yeah, he's little, but he's athletic. Like he can move too. Running the bases, the guy could run. Like he can move. Now, and I've seen him hit a softball too. Definitely,
We're talking
he
about
can throw. So
We're not talking about game. We're talking about kickball.
well, I can't speak on your baseball, but I mean, I've seen you in action. I mean, he could do it. He can ball, man. So
Softball is fun, man. I made it, man, just being up here and around all these people, a lot of Clinton people in softball. The community is awesome in the softball community. Like you can meet a lot of really, really good dudes. And that Chris Burns, really good dude. Great
Burns,
guy.
yeah, for sure.
Spent a lot of time with that guy. So he's introduced me to a lot of good people. So I can appreciate that. We got Kyle Jackson, Dylan Byrne, Tyler Redmond. Maybe we can get him back to Comanche one day, get his kid to be a center.
Yeah. Be nice.
Redmond, yeah, he's a good dude. I thought Redmond was 2 years behind me. He was a good dude.
Okay. Yeah. A lot of good dudes in the softball world.
Yep.
Mitch Tanner Weber said, just popped up. He said, Comanche Day, Saturday morning, 9 a.m., full count. He said, what
Are you swinging?
Are you swinging? Comanche Day's full count.
Well, it depends
9
if
a.m.
it's going to be a strike or not. I mean,
Saturday morning at 9 a.m. at Comanche Days?
yeah, that's fine.
Nah, those guys are throwing. That's a
It depends who's throwing. I mean, you talking Dave Bunn, the greatest god in the world? Of
Oh,
unlimited
God,
art.
let's not, don't do it. Don't even start throwing that name out.
Unlimited arc, right? Comanche
Oh, yeah.
Day.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I was
A lot of
thinking,
guys-
man.
A lot of guys don't do that.
That's hard to hit.
Some
unlimited arc.
guys will do the high arc and that, and some guys are just like, whatever, I'm just going to throw it, and you get a home run limit. So if you just throw some honey buns in there, and these guys are boom 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 hit 3 or 4 home runs in the second inning, they're out. Then they got to adjust how they're going to swing.
Yeah.
Some people can adjust. Some people are just like, hey, this is the one swing I got. I'm just going all or nothing. So
It's true.
Comanche Day is a great time.
That's one of your favorite weekends.
Oh.
Mitch's favorite weekends.
I had 2 favorite weekends. They took the MDA out. Like,
Yeah.
what are we doing? Bring it back.
When it's Comanche Days weekend, Mitch
That's great.
purposely drives by when all the carnies are setting up, and he's just sending snap videos of the Comanche Days.
I mean, you got Comanche Days, you got pork tacos. I mean, what more do you need? Like,
Get the golf tournament.
yeah, it's
And then
walking distance.
Yeah.
Shout out to my golf team too. Chad, Ben, Adam Love.
Oh,
Nice.
Ben's your guy. Cinda.
who's that?
Family. Ben Irwin.
Oh, Ben golfs?
Yeah.
No.
He donates a couple shots, but that's about it. But he's on the tee box.
If he gets a hold of it, it goes.
Oh my God, Ben. Jeez. He probably, honestly though, man, that guy's super athletic. For a big guy, like for being
in the day,
6'5",
maybe.
yeah, he's athletic, man. I just like giving him shit, just talking smack to him.
Back in the day, he might have been.
Oh man.
Yeah, he could ball. He could ball for sure.
So, Steve, I got a question for you.
Yep.
So you had mentioned that you participated in pretty much all the sports. Obviously, growing up in Comanche, small school. Mitch is a little different because he grew up in Champaign, Illinois, went to Centennial, and that was a very large school. So, a little different perspective here. What would you tell a kid, a Comanche kid, we'll say, that wants to only focus on one sport, is definitely capable, athletic enough, talented enough to play multiple sports, but thinks that the certain sport that they want to focus on is their only sport they have to focus on? What would you say to encourage him to be a multi-sport type of kid?
I think every sport that you play comes with a different mentality or strategy or whatever. And all those combined are going to make you better in the sport that you play. Right.
Yep.
So like Mitch was just talking about baseball strategy and stuff. And when I played baseball, like I just swung as hard as I could. And then in the outfield, like I was like, I just got to catch this ball and get it in as soon as possible, you know?
Right.
But I understood when we went through practice and we did, you know, first and thirds and we did situations and all those things, like it teaches you a different type of mentality. And even though like I knew I wasn't going to go play baseball in college or anywhere probably for that matter, it just helps you. It like creates a camaraderie with the other guys that you're with, you know, so you have that relationship with them, to trust them, that when you go to football season, it's like, yeah, your starting pitcher, you know, Joe Jess is also, he also catches, he's also your quarterback. He also does, you know, it's your safety. He does all these different things. And, you know, you trust him because you've seen him in other aspects of playing. And it's like the only chance you're going to get to do it. You know, especially you take football, like you can't, like, okay, Mitch could go hit the batting cage if he wanted to, and maybe that's exciting to him, or hit soft toss, whatever. But once he's done, there's no just pick up baseball games that you go play, or you can't just go, you can go throw the football like Uncle Rico against the fence or something, you know, if that's what you really enjoy. But like, this is your only really shot to be able to go do those things. So take advantage of them, because once it's gone, you know, then it's really glory days. And it's like, well, I you know, I could have done this, or I should have done this, or whatever. But go out, even if you're not going to be a starter, even if you're not going to be the position that you want, you may fill a void that you have no idea. Like I've watched Coit's team closely for the last couple of years, and I draw up chalk stuff in the driveway sometimes, and he is nice and like acts like they're good ideas and takes them home and probably throws them in the garbage. But like, I look at guys like Logan Waltz or Morgan Butt, or these kids that like were just like I was, big, physical, run, tough, you know, and played a major part in those teams, you know, that didn't probably catch a single pass or, you know, do anything. And had they just said, well, if I'm not going to be the running back, I'm not going out, you know, or I'm a wrestler, I'm just going to wrestle. Like you're missing the whole boat of what team sports are. If you want to do individual sports, great. I mean, have at it. You can go golf as much as you want when you get old, and you could do that. But there's those players that come in that really make a team. You just really make a team that do the dirty work and grind. And I would encourage anyone to do anything, because you never know. I mean, you look at Mikey Del Cell played center for you, you know, the one time, and then went on to be like an all-state quarterback
the very next year.
You know, so you know, you don't think that created some toughness for him? You know,
absolutely.
I mean, he didn't get it from Chad. You know, Stacy for sure, but not Chad.
For sure.
It's for any kid who's thinking about quitting, or thinking about, I'm not going to do this or whatever. And I didn't play baseball my freshman or sophomore year, because I grew so much and was like, football is my thing. This is what I'm going to do. And summer baseball in Iowa, my honest, is awful. Like, you know, like you know, it'd be July and you're still out there playing baseball. And I worked, you know, I worked at Paul's in Clinton, and, you know, I had different jobs, but But I went out after my junior year. We had a bunch of kids get hurt. It's the only reason I played. You know, my friend Nate Duncan broke his hand. My friend Joe was going after a fly ball, ran into a fence. Coach Cochran came and he's like, I just need a warm body to put out in right field. And I was like, I'm a warm body. You know?
I can do it.
And, you know, hitting in the cage, I'm like, this is great. You know, balls are coming off the pitching machine. I'm like, this is playing baseball is easy. This is what I did when I was a little kid. And then like curveballs were way different in high school. But I was glad I went back out. I was glad I did it. You know, there was situations where I played. There were situations where I'd have games where I'd go 2 for 3 and I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. Or I would pitch run or, you know, DH or whatever the situation was. And I look back at it now, like thinking if I had never done that, like, you know, would it have bothered me? I don't know. Right. But I know now that I did it and I can say I did it. And I got to hang out with those guys in the summer. And then it wasn't just me in the gym working out or getting ready to do this or sitting in my mom's basement.
Right.
I was actually with my teammates and with my friends. So,
well, and I think, I mean, that's obviously a big part of it. You want to be with your guys. And I know, like when Ben Irwin was on here, he mentioned like Zach didn't go out for football sophomore year and kind of just missed being with all his buddies because all his buddies were playing and he's had to get a job and, you know, or doing whatever. And I think the example but what I try to tell kids is, so say there's a kid that's really good at basketball. Okay. And there's another kid that isn't very good at basketball, but is a really good football player. So, but that kid that's not very good at basketball has like a little bit of a role, like a small role on the basketball team, not necessarily a starter, but comes off the bench, maybe gets like 4 points a game or something like that. But you need kids like that on your team. So what would you do if like that kid didn't go out? Like it would affect your team. Yeah, maybe it's only 4 points, but maybe it gives you some energy, gets some rebounds, some steals, you know, off the bench. And then that kid that is a really good basketball player also needs about football for that kid that is a really good football player kind of thing. And I think sometimes kids just don't understand that. I mean, they're trying to help all their buddies out and trying to do what's best for the team, even though if it maybe not necessarily is something they exactly want to do. Like the examples of Mike Dalzell and all that. And he sucked it up for a year and then we made a dome run because he did those things and got tougher and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'd agree with that, but it's just hard sometimes to put that into kids' brains of how important it is to be a multi-sport athlete. And even
unless you're really, really exceptional,
yeah,
you know, like you're going D1 and you know, like Mitch is the guy that played at your high school. Did he play basketball or any other sport?
Mm-hmm.
Track?
Yep. Basketball.
You know, you know what I mean? And he went to Texas. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, I've had most of it's D3 teams, you know, college coaches coming into Comanche. I mean, we've had like when LJ Henderson was going through, like Kirk Ferentz and Brian Ferentz were, you know, they came to watch a basketball practice, you know, for him, and they recruited him for football, obviously. So one of the first questions a lot of college coaches ask me is, well, what other sports does he play? You know, and if I'm like, oh, he only plays football, they'd be like, what? Why is he only playing football? You know, your school has 300 kids in it. You know, I'm like, well, it's a great question. You know, like, but most of the kids are playing multiple sports. And that's what a lot of coaches want to hear and want to see, you know, whether or not they're the star or the sixth guy off the bench. They just want them to be out for multiple things. We need more kids understanding the importance of that, I think. And even some parents as well. But I'm not going to get into that part of it. So Mitch, I don't know if Mitch does. He and Steve, they're both parents of kids that are involved in sports, and their kids do multiple sports though. So they're really not the problem of that. So
yeah, but you know, we're being around a lot of sports and stuff like that, and listening to kids, like you said, I'm just going to focus on this sport. All right. So if they're a basketball kid, I want to focus on basketball. So football season rolls around, you go, hey, you coming out, or whatever sport it may be, not just football, you know. Are those kids actually doing stuff basketball wise during the football season? Or are they just going, well, I'm just going to focus on basketball when it comes around? Yeah. Or are they going to say, hey, I'm going to go to this trainer or whatever it may be, or I'm gonna find this other team that practices in the fall before basketball to play more games, improve my skills, or are they just going, I'm just gonna sit at home until basketball rolls around, just say I'm just gonna focus on this. Like, at the end of the day, you got to put the work in. Like, there's no one's. I mean, you can give all the God-given ability that you want, but if you're not going to put the time, the effort, the energy into it, it's not going to get you very far.
Right.
And I mean, you guys have probably been around guys that were crazy talented, and they didn't want to work, and they didn't end up playing in college, or they didn't go to the next level, or they didn't do something, but they want to focus on one thing. Like you said, keep it going, man. Play every sport you can. You don't have to play every sport, but if you can play a couple,
well, and
have at it.
In the kid, I mean, there's been kids that, I want to focus on baseball, basketball, whatever sport it is, and then I'm like, well, okay. My first question is like, well, what are you gonna do to get better at it? And then if the kid has an answer right away, then I'm like, okay. But in 99% of the time, the kid's like, I do this. I go, well, you can't, because we are not doing that in the off season. Like, you can obviously work on your game and get better and things, but a lot of times kids either don't know how to do that, or they don't do it enough.
They want to hand it to them.
They don't want to
work hard. They just want to I want to be good. Well,
yeah.
How are you going to get good? You have to do what it takes to be good. There's a lot of steps and processes to get to being good.
Right? Yeah. And if it's like I said earlier, if it's a sport that takes a skill set, takes dribbling, takes hitting, takes hand-eye coordination, like all summer, like I had, I just worked. I worked out in the weight room. I worked out with the Webbers. I worked out, like, where the tennis courts are and where the track is, there's that hill.
Yeah.
I would run that hill in the summer and then weave in between the trees. And I had a couple of my buddies coming. I'm like, hey, we're going to do this and get in shape. And my one buddy left and he goes, nah, I'll take my lumps. And, he's like, I'll get in shape in camp, but that's all I had. I had being able to I never came off the field. I played special teams. I did all those types of things. So I'm like, well, the only skill I have is to be in really good shape, but I worked at it because I knew that's where my success was going to come from. We had other guys. There's a guy a year older than me named Kyle Kettleson. He dribbled a basketball all through town. He went to every hoop and shoot at it because every hoop's a little different. He put a square on the school and would like throw passes at it and stuff. And he just worked and worked. He wore gloves so he couldn't feel the ball. And like you'd watch him and you're like, dude, that's a ton of work. And then you'd see him in the basketball court and you're like, oh, I get it. You know what I mean? But he also was an all-state running back. He was like ranked in the 200.
Yeah.
He he could have done any sport he wanted to. But it's a big difference just to have talent and then guys that want to work. And we had had very few guys that didn't play multiple sports.
Yeah.
At a small school.
And we got a lot of kids doing multiple sports, which is great. But there's kids that you want to keep doing certain things and you miss. But
sure.
Well, I got a buddy. I'm not gonna say his name, but he told me, he goes, Dad, I'm in the gym working out, and I got, I'm back home, but I have my buddies. I see them on Snapchat. They're on a party bus and they're hanging out. They're having a good time. I kind of want to do that, but I want to put the work in. And his dad, who has played at the college level, basically said, hey man, if you want to put the work in to get where you need to be in sports, that party bus is going to be around in a couple of years.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, not college sports isn't for everybody. It's not for, it takes a certain drive. No matter what level you play, you got to kind of, put the party, like, don't get me wrong, you're in college, you can still party, you can still have a good time. You can do whatever you want. But, it sucks seeing all your buddies are on a party bus, hanging out, doing whatever, and you're in a gym, and I don't know, it's just the mindset to keep working. You only got, at the end of the day, you got 4, maybe 5 years to keep doing it. Right. Like, enjoy it, have fun. And then, God, we're 40 some years old or 40 years old. We can go get a party bus tomorrow if we want to and have fun.
Yeah.
We can do it. But you're only in college for 4 to 5 years. So
I saw a thing
enjoy your time
on JJ Watt once. And he went to Wisconsin and obviously I think he got in trouble.
Who was his college coach? Do you know?
Brett Bielema.
Oh yeah. Correct. Sorry.
And he got in trouble, I think. And then like his grandpa was like, he's like, you'll have the rest of your life to drink. And when he went to the NFL, like he did not party. And then like soon as he got out, he did like a beer endorsement. I'm like, good. I'm like, oh yeah. Cause now what is he, 35?
Oh,
Proud, yeah.
And he's like now he's like, I just spent 10 years in the NFL, made a ton of money, had a ton of success, probably go in the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
And now I can party as much as I want with my buddies.
Yeah.
You gotta have your priorities straight.
Yep.
For sure.
No doubt.
Stenda, what are you thinking over there?
No, it's interesting. Yeah. It's all the same. Well, I would say here's what I'll say out of the whole conversation. Definitely the multi-sports. I would say we're all in the same era when we were playing in high school, right?
Mhm.
And I coming from like Clinton was a big school. MAC conference was arguably the best conference in the state of Iowa at that time for a long time.
Yeah.
Now I was an average athlete, okay, but I would say yes, the small schools you had a lot of kids, and no disrespect to Comanches then Northeast, but you had a lot of kids that did say, "I'm just playing football," I'm just playing baseball, and they were. When you watch them come around to their sport, they were never good. Like they started, but it's like, how hard is it to start in a 2A school? And I'm not knocking it now. It's different now. It's way different. The culture's changed. But like I was at Clinton, I played 4 sports. 2 of them I started in. The other 2 I didn't. But I went out, as we've talked a lot about, competing and getting better that way to compete. And that was in a 4A school that was very, down, like competing against the best in the state. But a lot of those schools at the time, I think that's why the Comanches, Northeast, and all that didn't succeed, because you had guys saying, I just play basketball. Mitch, you made a great point. They were doing nothing in the off season. They weren't. Yeah, I'm just getting ready for basketball. You see them in the gym 4 weeks before basketball starts, and they're shooting hoops. Come on, dude. I can go and do that.
Right. Huffing and puffing too.
Yeah. It's changed. I think that's great to see what you guys – like, again, you guys, where you're at now and what you've done with the programs. It's great because the numbers probably haven't really changed for you that much. You've just instilled the, hey, this is how, if you want to actually be good, you've got to compete even when you're not in your football. You've got to be out for basketball or wrestling. But it was, when I was at Clinton, like I'm telling you, I've said this before, Comanche and Northeast and those schools, when we played them in the River City Classic basketball, the tournament, and baseball, it was a joke because we knew we were always going to win. You could put your 5, 6, 7 guy pitcher out there and you knew you were still going to beat him because you had a lot of those guys that I only do track and baseball. So, I mean, I think that's changed, but it does come down to, like, I think if you're not competing, you're going to be mediocre or just slightly above that. You're never going to be anything better than that, so.
Yeah. Agree. Solid points, Stenda.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Not knocking. I mean, I know we all been in the same era. I mean, it's just, it is what it was. Like a guy like Steve, like, yeah, you had success there. Yeah, you put the work in. But how many guys you talked about? How many guys didn't put any of the work in? Or again, I'm only
in a small school, like you just said, you know you're going to be a starter, right?
Yeah,
you know there's no other competition, right? So it's easy to just be like, I'll show up the week of. Because
that's why it's hard too as a coach. Like you have the off season stuff, and I mean, I take attendance, and I like to give the kids that's there 90% of the time a little more leeway than maybe a kid that's there 5%. But once the season rolls around, if whoever the best player is going to play, I mean,
right.
That's if I don't play the best player, then I'm an idiot. You know what I mean? Like really,
Right.
it's true. I mean, but usually your best players are the kind of guys that are putting the time in, that want to get better and are doing that. So it's really not that. I mean, occasionally you'll have a kid that is at 10% of the summer stuff and he's a 2-way starter, just because A, like Steve and you said, Stenda, it's a 2-way school, and B, they're just better, then that's just what it is.
Yeah.
Gonna play the best 11 guys on offense, defense, and go from there. So, but yeah. We probably should get into tier talk. We're pushing an hour and a half right here.
We got to get to it.
Yeah, we got to get to it. So, we are going to discuss our top 3 WWF/WWE wrestlers of all time. This might be one of my favorite tier talks right here because I used to be a huge
I was excited when I
huge
saw it.
WWF guy back in the day, little WCW too when I was going, ECW also. So I was super excited when we decided to roll with this one. You guys probably know how it works. We'll each say our list, and you have to give a one word off of each person's list when they're done. Okay. Got that? Everyone got that? Who would like to go first?
Hey, before you go, read he's got a very good, and I agree with him, but read Sean Lawrence's comment.
Okay. He says, got to be honest, Stinda, a few years ago, Comanche had a few freaks that would have been
Anywhere 1A through 4A.
1A through 4A. Missing that currently.
And I agree. I think that,
Yeah.
now, like I said, now, like I'm giving the props to you guys, like, yeah, I mean, I think there's now, if you say a 2A player and a 4A, I don't really think there's a big difference because I think you guys are really instilling as a whole, the weightlifting, the off-season stuff. Back in our era, it was kind of like, you guys remember bigger, faster, stronger. Show up.
Oh, yeah.
Do
BFS.
3x10.
Yeah.
You're done. So you didn't have, I mean, like now, like, yeah, a lot of these kids, like, dude, a 2A player and a 4A, like, there's not a difference. And I think that just goes back to you guys, the coaches are instilling different cultures within the organizations. But yeah, back in my time, it was like, are you kidding me? Like, there might have been one guy every couple of years from a small school. You're like, he's a stud. He can compete at 4A.
Yeah.
You wouldn't see that like very often. And now it's, like I said, he's right. They could probably compete 1 through 4A. I would agree.
So I was a starter linebacker my junior year. We had a really good team. I mean, like I said, we were ranked 4th in the state, and at that time you had to win your conference to go on. Like I mean, so very little losses, didn't matter. But after that season, I worked at Paul's, and I worked with some Clinton guys, and some guys I became really good friends with. And they're like, "Why don't you come to Clinton? Like, what are you doing? Like, you could play in the MAC, you could play Bettendorf, you could play, all these teams. You're going to get more exposure. You're going to get this, this, and this." And I'm like, what do you, I had no idea. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's just football.
Yeah.
Like, and a friend of mine, who's a Clinton guy who since passed away, Brandon Hankins, he was a stud offensive lineman, was getting looks, at some big colleges. And we went down to Brady Street and watched him play. And I'm like, oh, I get it. Like, it's like watching small school football at the time, when you go to Brady Street to watch him. But it was the same thing. They tried to talk me into going to play the Clinton because I was going to have more exposure. The reality is I sent a whole bunch of tapes out, and, schools found me in Iowa State. If you're talented enough, they'll find you, but at the time it was kind of an exposure thing. And recently I think Comanche has done a really good job of not only, developing athletes. They had a really good swath of kids come through at the right time.
We did.
But they had a bunch of kids that just showed up that wanted to be there. So it was a fun time. It was a lot of foggy Saturdays.
Oh, yeah. You're telling me. Some like 4 a.m.s, 3 a.m.s.
Hey, am I missing something on the NIL packages or what?
Yeah, I think Micah's making stuff up right now.
I saw them like,
we don't have that. We don't have money to give NIL packages, Micah.
That's a good one.
Gosh.
Comanche does a good job with NIL packages. Something weeks was going offer.
We gotta get Micah on the podcast too.
He'd be good. I had his wife was my PE teacher.
Okay.
Yeah, way back. Yeah. I don't think she liked me very much. I was not.
Oh, I'm sure she did.
No, I was not very nice.
Micah.
He's really good at ping pong, so don't play him.
I wouldn't know.
Micah good at everything.
He's
a really good volleyball player.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Remember that obstacle course race we went and did?
Oh, geez.
And Micah's like, I don't know. I haven't really done much this summer. He ran like 43 minutes or something.
Yeah. Just freak athlete. He'd be glad to join. Yeah, well, I'll hook up with Mike. Yep, I got his number. I'll text him. All right, we got to get into tier talk here. So top 3 WWF/WWE wrestlers. A lot of obviously WrestleMania going on right now too. So this is a good topic for this week. So who wants to go first? Anybody? Mitch, Steve. Who wants to go?
Mitch.
Go for it.
All right, Steve's going.
I got my guys, but I'm letting you roll with it.
I'm pretty shy on the mic too, so I thought you would talk more.
Boy.
So following tradition, since I've watched all the shows, long time listener, first time guest.
Caller.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use an honorable mention.
Yes.
And oddly enough, you guys did the post, and Mick Foley was on there.
Okay.
And I was like, this is awesome, because Mick Foley was my honorable mention, right? Came up in like the hardcore wrestling, the backyard stuff that no one. And when he came in and was just taking chairs and barbed wire, and I thought, I was like 13, 14 years old. I thought it was the coolest thing. And then he's Dude Love, and he's
Cactus
Jack, and then he's Mankind with Sacco, and like it was a lot of weirdness. So honorable mention, Mick Foley. Number 3 for me is Bill Goldberg.
Okay.
Was a big Goldberg guy. I mean, he was like, talking about a man crush on a guy. Like when he came out and just was spearing people, like as a linebacker, like I just wanted a Goldberg every dude I saw in the hole, and he goes on and wins 173 matches or something. So
how do you do that? 173.
Did you see the spear?
He's just that talented.
Yeah.
Man, crazy.
The spear? Yeah. Number 2 for me is Ric Flair. Yeah.
Right.
So
Nature Boy.
I mean,
Woo!
Tom Brady, right? He's got 21 championships.
Oh my god.
Ric Flair, 21 titles, and all his charisma and his sayings, he was awesome. But number 1 for me is a pretty easy one. Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh yeah, baby.
That's the age I grew up in. Like my good friend in college, Jason Wilkie, was a defensive end, was a stud for us, like all conference player. He had the best Stone Cold shirt ever that said like F fear, drink beer on the back of it, and he got like a fight at a bar and a guy like ripped his sleeve off, and then he like beat the guy up even worse because he tore a Stone Cold shirt.
Nice.
So I mean, it's Stone Cold was a guy every kid grew up unsafely stunning their friends. There could have been broken necks everywhere.
It's one of the best finishing moves ever.
For
and the broken glass,
Oh yeah.
So that's my list.
All right, what's your word, Mitch?
I don't have an honorary mention.
No, what's your word?
No, what's your word?
What's
You
your
gotta
word
give a
for my
word for
list?
his list. Like what's like his list? What word comes to your head?
Phenomenal.
Okay.
I like that. I like
Stenda, what's your word?
Yeah, I use solid. I just like it. It's just you can't go wrong with it.
I'm gonna say classic. That was good. That was a good list. Tough list. All right. Mitch, you want to go second?
Yeah. 3, I'm just gonna keep it traditional Hulk Hogan. I mean,
Yeah.
why not?
Yeah.
With his shirt off. Right.
Hollywood.
Yeah, goddamn right, man.
The original or Hollywood?
Oh, original. And I don't want Hollywood with
Yeah.
the NWO.
No.
Nah. Not my type cup of tea with WCW, Eric Bischoff and all that.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm good. Shawn Michaels, number 2, with a little sweet chin music. Was always a big fan of that. Small guy, kind of like myself, so appreciate that. And by far, my number 1, it's not even close, is the Ultimate Warrior. Is my man. Love that guy. I was probably like 10 or 11. They came to Champaign one time, and my dad got us tickets. And we're watching. It was Ultimate Warrior versus The Undertaker.
I was at that same one.
Oh,
Swear to God.
oh boy. And do you remember when Undertaker did the body bag?
Yes.
So he's putting Ultimate Warrior, he puts him in the thing. He's carrying him over his shoulder, and they get halfway down the ramp. And all of a sudden, the Ultimate Warrior breaks out of it and just beats the shit out of The Undertaker.
Yep.
And I'm like, this is the greatest thing of my life. This is awesome. My dad's like, this is fake as shit, dude. But
Do you remember where the Undertaker was, or where the Ultimate Warrior was from?
Parts unknown.
Parts unknown.
yeah.
God damn.
And that happened. And, whenever he would like shake the rope, I'd be like, oh, yep, I'm ready to go.
He took a lot of protein. A lot of protein bars.
Yeah, I think he had more than protein. Whatever.
That's crazy. I was at that same. That's wild.
I knew this was happening.
Coco Beware wrestled that day too. I shook his hand. I was on the side. Man, it was awesome. All right.
My dad and Big Gary probably had beers, and we didn't even know it.
Probably.
Here we are. We're sitting in our seats waiting for our dads to come back, and our dads are having beers. We're having fun. So.
For sure. All right. What's your word, Steve?
Great. Yeah, it's a great list.
I'm gonna say amazing. That was amazing. What do you got, Stenda?
Legendary.
Legendary.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Mitch always comes through, man.
Like 2 of his 3 wrestlers were the wrestling buddies, the Pillows.
Yeah.
Do you remember those?
I was gonna talk about that in mine. How do you guys know this?
Yeah,
Stealing my thunder.
All right,
Stenda, you want to go or?
Yeah, I'll go. Yeah, I mean,
All right.
I don't really have. I had some honorable mention, but I'm not going to do that. I had 4 guys.
Well, then that's honorable mention, right?
Well, I'm not gonna. I'm just going to pick one. I'm starting with Triple H.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
You got it. I mean, you got the pedigree, and then look what he's done his entire career. You know, basically taking over WWE, whatever it is now. You know, when he was with China, and then his wife was Stephanie McMahon.
Yep.
Number 2, you guys nobody said it. The Rock.
Yeah.
I was never a big Rock guy.
Last night he
Do
showed
you
up.
know what The
he
Rock
won
did
last night.
though?
Oh yeah, he was a great wrestler, great career.
He finished Stone Cold's career.
And I was at a wrestling event in Memphis, Tennessee at the Pyramid in 5th grade, and he lit the Brahma Bowl on fire, and he threw the corporate ministry, every single one of them through it, and beat the living shit out of all of them. And yeah, so dude, The Rock, I mean, he's number 2. And then number 1, come on. We already said it, Stone Cold Steve Austin. You got a guy that shows up to an event with a beer truck and washes down Vince McMahon, Shane McMahon, and The Rock with a hose full of beer.
Oh, yeah.
That you already got me there at beer, and that's it, man. So Stone Cold, I think Stone Cold's the greatest of all time, but I don't know. I could be missing
Quick
other
great
guys. But.
Stone Cold story.
All right.
Middle school. You guys know Adam Birkin, right?
Yeah.
So high school, they have a talent show. And Troy Saxmeyer and Brad Borison and TJ Miller and Adam Birkin do wrestling for no reason. And they go through the whole match, and Troy Saxmeyer is Stone Cold Steve Austin. And there's glass breaks, and the whole crowd, everyone's looking at the crowd. And Troy comes from behind and stunning everybody. And this is the basketball season. He has 2 cans of Sprite with duct tape on them that say beer. Smashes them both. Sprite all over the gym floor. That night we're playing a basketball game, just sticking everywhere.
That's funny.
Yeah. So then the school banned wrestling wasn't in the talent show anymore after that.
Ooh,
Classic.
Tough.
makes
All right, what do you guys got a word for Stenda's list?
badass. I like
Hey,
it.
I like it, Mitch. That's a good
Stone
choice.
Cold, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go solid. Yeah.
That's cool. I'm cool with that. Oh, look at Coy. It's like,
Good. It was good.
what, dude? Dude, whatever.
See, I love
Oh my
I love
God.
Stone Cold. I love Stone Cold. He's not on my list, but I love him.
Cold's not on your list?
No.
Right. Hey, I'm going to tell you guys something before he calls his list. He had to text me. Me and him always got to text each other to know what we're going to put up because we always usually have the same exact list. So,
Yeah, this one's different though. Way different.
well, it's one
you
time
ready?
we don't agree.
All right, you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, so I have an honorable mention, obviously.
No, you don't.
I do. And Steve took my honorable mention. I actually had Mick Foley. Obviously, Mankind, Cactus Jack, Dude Love.
Mandible Claw.
The Hell in the Cell match with the Undertaker, where they literally thought that he was dead like twice during that match.
The whole tax thing when they throw tacks on the ground, and
yeah.
body slamming each other.
And then like they threw him through the Spanish broadcast table from the top of the Hell in the Cell cage, and then he went through the cage after that. Like he was actually getting taken out on a stretcher, like because they thought he like couldn't go, and he gets off of it. And they're like, "No, dude, can't." And then Undertaker choke slams him through the cage, and that I guess that wasn't even supposed to happen. Like they were supposed, like it was they were supposed to like hold him up, and it didn't. And he went through it, and then but he would do anything. That dude was crazy. So he's my honorable mention. My number 3 is Ultimate Warrior.
Boom. Boom.
Just like I'm with Mitch when he started shaking the ropes, going crazy and going back and forth on the ropes, and then hits him with that clothesline. Man.
Yep.
And then he was just a dude. Number 2 is Shawn Michaels. So Mitch and I's list pretty similar here. The Heartbreak Kid, Sweet Chin Music, not much better than that. And then my number 1, and Jason Farr is with me on this. The best there was, the best there is, the
jeez.
best there ever will be. Bret the Hitman Hart is my number
Oh,
one. Is my
yeah.
guy. I know a lot of people didn't like him. Bret Hart was that he's got one of the best finishing moves ever, the sharpshooter.
Yeah,
You can't argue the sharpshooter.
Ric Flair's
He
figure
was
four
just
leg lock.
yeah, sharpshooter was pretty cool though. You just can't beat Bret the Hitman Hart, man. That's my guy.
I really thought
The shades, you know, those really crappy like plastic shades that he had. Man, what a guy! Loved Bret the Hitman Hart.
Aren't they Vipers?
Yeah,
now?
kind of. Yeah.
I really thought you were gonna go Eddie Guerrero, the frog.
I do like the frog splash. I broke my bed doing the frog splash. But I do that into your pool sometimes too.
That's a pool favorite. Yeah.
But yeah. All right, Clements, you go. Let Stinda go last on this word.
Average.
Oh, jeez.
Dynamite. I like it. I like it. I don't like Bret Hart, but I like it.
Man.
I like it. Canada sucks.
Yeah, he is Canadian.
I had a sign that said Canada sucks when he came to the assembly hall.
Yeah, nice.
Canada sucks.
I'm gonna say approve.
You said what?
Approve.
Approved?
I approve it.
Oh, you approve. All right.
Eligible for this segment.
Jeez. You're killing me.
Yep.
Hey, we never talked. We never really talked about the Iowa women's game, but I'm kind of sad. But
Do we have to?
no, I don't know. No, because we'll get everybody going. It won't be good. People want
back to real quick. Can we go wrestling talk real quick?
Oh yeah, dude. No, I was just giving you that now.
Steve brought up the wrestling buddies.
Yeah.
So I had the Ultimate Warrior one. I had the Hulk Hogan one. And my mom commented that I'd always just play wrestling all day and I knew all the moves and everything. That's actually true. I did that probably till I was like 12, but anyway, yeah, it's just last night with Knox. But anyway, I remember when Hulk Hogan, when he like went into the NWO, WCW and all that. Me and my buddy went out my back and we burned the Hulk Hogan wrestling buddy because we were pissed because he traded and was a NWO guy. And, oh my god, it was
phenomenal.
Awesome. Yeah,
NWO was cool though. The Too Sweet thing and
that was NC State. Did you see NC State in the championship? They were doing, the Wolf Pack. They were doing that.
Would they do that for? I didn't notice that.
Every middle school kid was
D-Generation.
X-Pac.
DX,
Oh,
X-Pac.
jeez.
He was when he was the 1, 2, 3 kid. You remember that?
Oh yeah.
Oh man, he was awesome when he was that. But,
that was Triple H. He was a part of that too. Right?
He was Triple H.
Yeah.
Triple H, X-Pac, all those guys.
China was in the DX.
Yeah.
Diesel.
He was NWO.
Yeah, NWO. But what was he when he was
Kevin Nash was with
Nash, yeah.
Was Kevin Nash no, not Kevin Nash. Who was Scotty Steiner? He was he wrestled like Michigan State in college.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden
Michigan. I think he was Michigan.
Then he found steroids and he's like, I'm just gonna do
the biceps.
Yeah.
Oh god, yeah, for sure.
Kurt Angle is a legend.
He was.
Yeah.
Hey, did you see Logan's comment? You got Mitch Phillips, and then you point to he's got Mitch Phillips, and he's got a little arrow to Andy Merrill.
So Mitch Phillips greater than Andy Merrill.
Yeah.
Boom.
That's funny.
Let's talk about that at the next family gathering.
Mitch, a question for you. I just fought one for you on this. Who can drink more beers, you or Andy Merrill?
That's not a question.
Yikes.
He's got me. He's got me.
I've witnessed it too. Probably.
Coit's ridden in the car with him. He gets it.
Hey, don't easy. Don't sell him short. Then another Adam Birkin brought up the wrestling match, Steve, where he took mattresses from his parents' house and it's bright all over, and that's funny.
I don't know what Adam had that day, but he had like his shirt like stuffed full, like he was like, and he was like 6'5", so but he got stunned just like the rest of the guys. That's awesome. Sorry, Birkin.
Yeah, and then my mom, I still have all the wrestling figures.
You need to put them up back here.
Yeah, I should. I could do that. I still have them upstairs. Knox has played with them.
We did go through
well, you can see the ring right over there. in the
boom.
basement. I got the ring right there. I could
There we
probably
have
bust
it.
these out. Let me bust some of them out real quick. Hold on.
Absolutely.
So while Dustin does that, we were here one night, just watching TV and stuff, and he brought them out, and we like went through the quiz game to try to figure out all the names. And I missed a couple, but Dustin legit knew every single one of them.
Got some of them right here.
Mr. Perfect.
Yeah.
God, you guys remember Val Venus?
I don't know if
Oh,
you
yeah.
can see that.
Val Venus with a towel? Oh yeah, dude.
I got Hulk Hogan, you know, I got them all. Got Jim the Anvil Neidhart right here.
Yeah. Remember that guy? He died. He just recently
yeah.
died like a year or two.
Rowdy Piper.
Oh, for
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
The best thing about these is when they have what are those shows called now? Like After the Dark.
Oh,
Dark-
I know what you're talking about.
Dark Side of the Ring.
The Dark Side of the Ring.
They're
Yeah, those are
phenomenal
great.
shows.
Yeah.
Phenomenal
I
shows.
don't watch any of the new wrestling stuff, you know, like Biggie Langston played at Iowa, so like I know who he is, but I don't watch any of that. But that Dark Side of the Ring stuff
There you
is
go,
really
Mitch.
good.
Bam. Shake the
Ultimate-
ropes, buddy.
Ultimate Warrior.
Shake the ropes, dude.
Looks like a Pez.
Bushwhackers.
Oh my god.
Jake the Snake Roberts. Like, jeez.
I mean, no one talks about Andre the Giant. As a
Coit's got
wrestler.
$25,000 worth
Hold
of
on.
wrestling.
Andre the Giant right here.
Andre the Giant.
I got them all.
Dude,
Sid
Mitch, hey
Vicious.
Mitch, you know who he's like right
Road
now?
Warriors?
He's like the guy off of, remember 40-Year-Old Virgin?
40-Year-Old
I am
Take 'em out of the
exactly
box.
They're
that
out of the
guy.
package, though. They're out of the
Yeah,
package.
they're all out. Some of them have broken hands and stuff, and
They're not
arms,
worth the
but,
price anymore.
Man,
Sell them, Coy. Hey, you might be able to
Classic.
retire early if you sell those.
no, I'm keeping them.
I'll live poor. I'll live
Yeah.
pour
It's
before I do
worth
that.
it. It's worth
I
it
gotta
for
have
sure.
those. Gotta have those. Thanks, Mom, for the shout out on that. Make me looking real cool here.
It's a good thing he's married, Julie.
So much for this podcast. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Shelby didn't know about those toys before.
Oh, she knows. All right. Stinda, you got anything else you want to share?
No, appreciate. Hey, both of you guys.
Yeah.
It was cool to have two people on. First time we
Yeah.
did. We've talked about. We'll probably have a couple upcoming that way, but it was nice to
Yeah.
have you guys break the ice on it. So appreciate you guys both being on. It's cool to get to know you guys on a. Well, I know Mitch obviously, but
Yeah.
you know it's
We
cool to
spent
get.
enough times in driveways talking about random stuff. So this is
100%.
Yeah.
this is
100%.
pretty easy.
Yep. For sure. All right. We want to thank everyone for listening, and don't forget to like our page, follow our page, and keep going and watching our stuff. Appreciate you. Thanks, Steve and Mitch.
Hey,
Thank
appreciate,
you.
appreciate you having
Thanks,
us.
Stinda.
Appreciate it.
Keep rolling. Go Chiefs.
Adios, go Steelers, baby. Number 7. Let's go.
All right.